the Canadian Grand Prix 2026. And, well, first initial thoughts just finished. We were denied a generational race. One of the all-timers, one of the GOATs, one of the best races of all time. We were completely denied by a fault that no one could have predicted, when the lights went out. Kimi Antonelli, of course, the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix. 4 wins on the bounce for the Italian teenager and a 42-point lead in the World Championship. Lewis Hamilton finished second and Max Verstappen in third for Red Bull for their first podium this year. Hamilton will be very happy with the second place in Montreal. First time he's ever finished second in Montreal, which is nuts. He's either first or third. But let's go right back to the beginning of the race. We were teased twice on the start line. The first time was due to Arvid Lindblad. His racing balls decided, I don't want to go into gear, actually. I'm actually all right. Can't be bothered, mate. So that's why we were teased the first time on the start line, because Lindblad couldn't get away. So for safety reasons, obviously, they can't just let everyone go at full pace, because someone will probably just smash into the back of him. So his car's pushed off the grid. They come back round. They've still not pushed his car back to the garage, or off the grid even. So we get a second formation lap. So again, these laps are coming off the race laps because of fuel usage and stuff like that. So eventually we get going. And it's not, and the person you think they'll be leading into turn 1, they're not leading, because why is Lando Norris first into turn 1? What was going on there? All sorts of madness going on just on the start line. Now, we need to talk about McLaren, because what were they doing in this race? It makes absolutely no sense from an outsider's perspective of why they did what they did, because it absolutely ruined their weekend. No questions asked. So for this to make sense, we've got to go back to the tyre choices everyone's making on the grid. Now, a lot of teams, everyone there, not a lot of them, all of them, will have seen the forecast, which is, it might rain. And I think it had rained in the morning. And so everyone's like, well, could be a wet race. Drivers on the in-lap, on the way to the grid, are going, it's very slippery. Every driver said that. I don't think there was a driver going, well, it's actually quite nice. But McLaren decide, as others did, I think both Cadillacs did it as well. And I think possibly Colapinto and possibly one of the Hasses maybe started on the intermediate tyres. And I think, okay, that's fine. It looks like it might rain. Fine. The rain doesn't come. Just putting that up there. It doesn't rain once in that whole in 68 laps. It doesn't rain. And then they're doing the 2 extra formation laps, and Piastri's going, I don't know what we're doing, boys. It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense because the track looks bone dry. And that's from someone watching it on the TV, let alone if you're there. I get it slippery, but, what's going on there? And their race was completely ruined from that point. I mean, they were 14th and I think 18th by the time lap 3 had come round. It does get worse for McLaren, but we'll get onto that. So the first DNF, of course, was Arvid Lindblad on, lap 0, technically. He didn't get going. But the second DNF came on lap 13, the unluckiest laps of all, apparently, or something, I don't know. Who cares? But it was Alex Albon out of the race, stopped on the side of the track, but who had hit him? The one and only Oscar Piastri on his dry tyres, having pit because they've had to start on the intermediates. He shouldn't even be in 14th or 15th or wherever he was at the time to hit Alex. So Alex has been taken out of this race because McLaren can't work out what tyres to start on. It's all very confusing, but Alex out of this race. It then cuts to Oscar in the pits having his front wing changed. So he's even further back. It was a messy Sunday from McLaren. But in all of this, in all of the carnage happening around them, the 2 Mercedes drivers out front pulling away from Hamilton and Verstappen in third and fourth. Leclerc is up there, Hajar's up there as well. But the Mercedes, they're so far ahead of everybody. Even now, everyone else has done upgrades. I think they did an upgrade possibly this weekend as well. But they were so quick. And it was just so reminiscent of the prime Rosberg-Hamilton fights back in the day. This race really gave like Bahrain 2014 vibes. It was absolutely unbelievable. Every time they go into that last chicane, you're going, someone's going to get hit here. Someone's losing an end plate or just a wheel or something. Someone's going to not finish here. And it's such high level. It's ridiculous. I don't want to say it's high level racing because obviously it is. It's F1. It's the pinnacle. All the racing in F1 is the highest level in a way. So we're not gonna get into that. But those 30 laps is what the rest of this season is going to be like, it's going to be a genuinely incredible season. Now, talking of incredible seasons, let's go to someone who isn't having an incredible season, and that's Aston Martin. 27 laps in, and Alonso is in the garage. He's not taking any further part. I think something happened with his seat, but Alonso didn't finish this race. But Aston Martin are not as bad as they were. They're still rubbish, but it's getting a little bit better for them. But let's go back to lap 30, where it all fell apart for George Russell. In a weekend where all the talk had been on him, Antonelli came into this weekend with the momentum. 3 wins on the bounce, 3 poles on the bounce. It was all about George Russell getting back into the championship in this race. This weekend, this was it. This was his weekend. Lap 30, something breaks on that Mercedes. A very rare mistake, a rare thing, not even a mistake, a rare thing to happen for Mercedes. I think Russell hadn't DNF since Silverstone 2024. So I think he's almost gone 2 years without, not finishing a race. Did I say that right? I'm not quite sure. Either way, he didn't finish, and it genuinely ruined what could have been a generational Grand Prix. Because I guarantee that Kimi and George would have been fighting like they did for the first 30 laps, or first 29 laps, I guess, the whole way. There was no way. No one was catching them. The only time that would have changed would probably been the pit stops. But even then, the gap they had to everybody, I don't think it would have made much difference. And that's so devastating for George. He'd done such a good job this weekend. He got pole on the Saturday. He'd won the sprint race. I think he got pole in the sprint as well, but I can't remember. It was all there. It was all set out in front of him to go and win this race, to claw back a gap to Kimi. And it all just fell apart in an instant, in something that he has no control over, had no control over. He could never have predicted that his car was just going to stop on lap 30. Devastating for George. And now people will go, well, Kimi's going to be world champion, isn't he? And I despise it when people this early on, we're 5 races in, and people are going, well, that's it. He'll win the championship now. Kimi, confirm it now, lads. Can we chill out? If you've ever watched F1, you'll know comebacks can happen. Let's not count out George Russell in this championship. Crazy. Now, we said McLaren, or I said, no one said anything. I'm the only one talking it. No, I said McLaren are having a bad weekend. Piastri's flirting around the back. And then lap 40 comes around, and you're thinking, it can't get much worse for McLaren. I think Lando was just outside the points, or just in. I think he was 10th or 11th. Piastri, as I say, is lagging behind in 15th or wherever he is. And then it all gets a little bit worse for McLaren, because Lando Norris pulls over and is out of the race. I think it was a gearbox issue, but I'm not entirely sure. I think that's what Lando said on the radio. Gearbox issue, I'm done. It's just... Canada's never been the track for Lando, so I'm sure he'll get over that one quite quickly. Again, like Russell's DNF, nothing he can do about it. It wouldn't have been him pushing too hard or anything. It was just unlucky. The final retirement and the final, I guess, real piece of action, drama, in this race came on lap 43, just 3 laps later from Lando's retirement. And that was the DNF of Sergio Perez. The first, I didn't realise this, but this was his first DNF. I just assumed they always just I guess they were always last, so just think, just forget that they finish. But this was his first DNF in the Cadillac for this year. And it cuts to him, and he's got his front right wheel hanging off. You're like, what's happened there? The replay, it's just, I mean, Sergio's an experienced enough driver, so he saw it coming in a way. He obviously felt it in the car. But he's going into the pits, and his suspension just goes, no, and then just snaps. Slightly terrifying. It was like a, if everyone sort of knows that really famous clip of Alguersuari in, where is it, in China or Malaysia, where his front two wheels just like fling off. It was sort of like a really, think of that, but rubbish, like the Temu version of that, where one wheel just goes. It's like that, you know. Everyone will get that. Anyone who watches F1, anyone who's got ball knowledge, will get that reference. What's next? Well, it's the Monaco Grand Prix, so don't expect a long video for that one.